Go.
Hey, I'm Mark Hughes. I'm the youth pastor here at Myrtle Lake Baptist Church in Land O'Lakes, Florida. And I've been a youth pastor here now for about 2.5 years. I am married to a wonderful woman. Her name is Tara Kay. We met while we were in college, and she's been my rock ever since. It's been a wonderful journey with her, and we just had our first child. Her name is Carson Grace, and we had her back in December, and she is just the light of my life. I absolutely love her to death, and I'm excited to see what God does through her life. And He's definitely changed the way that I look at ministry through just that experience in itself.
Okay, cool. I'm Jake Collins, and I'm going to ask him a few questions. How long have you been at Myrtle Lake Baptist?
About 2.5 years, going on 3. So.
Okay. And you've been with the youth ministry only here, or what are your other titles here?
I mean, I've done just about everything. Mainly youth ministry, yes. I am the youth pastor. That's what I was hired for.
Okay.
Since then, I've also led worship for about the past 6-7 months. I also led worship. So, and also I oversee media and creative arts along with my partner Aaron.
Okay. What's the name of your youth group?
It's Ignite Student Ministries is our high school group, and our middle school group is called Livewire.
Awesome. Okay. What are the group dynamics, like the ages and the numbers of kids you have, and the groups the different groups that you have?
Yeah. Ignite is high school, like I said, and it goes from 8th through 12th.
Okay.
And then Livewire, our middle school ministry, goes from 6th to 8th. So
Okay.
that 8th grade is kind of a gray area depending upon, how mature that individual is, and if they're ready to move up or not, they can move up on their own.
Okay. In a nutshell, what would you say your philosophy of ministry is?
Okay.
What's your overall philosophy?
In a nutshell, it would be, I always try to let my kids know that they're important to God, and that God loves kids, and that they're not too small and they will not be looked down upon. I always look to 1 Timothy 4:12 for that, that don't let them look down upon you because you're young.
Right.
You have a story to tell. You are powerful in the eyes of Christ. And also, I try to instill that discipleship is a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
That whenever you're telling people about Jesus, it's not just, telling them the gospel and just, giving them the word, but it's a relationship. It's something that you work at. And so I try to instill that in our kids as well. Also, just to love on each other.
Mm-hmm.
That's what Christ is.
Family.
Jesus is love,
Yeah.
Go home and be Christ in your homes, be Christ in your schools, and that is love. That's loving on these other kids. That's those who you find in the hallways that are crying, that are having the worst day of their life. Just love on them and show them God's love, because your life story is going to minister to them.
Yeah.
The way that you live your life is going to minister to them more than
Sure.
anything that you can say.
For sure. You can make this pretty basic, because you could probably talk for like 10 minutes on this one, but what does your typical week look like as far as planning, services, meetings, just, a nice general idea?
Typical week. I can go ahead. I'll start with Monday. Monday mornings I come into the office, normally around 8 o'clock, and I run through my emails and catch up with any voicemails, anything like that was left for me. And that's kind of just my catch-up time in the morning. Then I move into planning for Sunday worship. Like I said, I've been handling worship now for about pretty close to a year, maybe about 8 months. So that's whenever I do my worship planning. And so I set out the song set. We use something called Planning Center Online to organize the band and make worship sets. So I set all of that up on Planning Center and then shoot that out to our band so they can be ready for practice on Wednesday.
Okay.
That's what I try to knock out on Mondays, just kind of catching up and then knock out the worship set. So Moving on, like my Tuesday is obviously going to be my recap day. I stay out about a month, or I try to stay out about a month ahead as far as messages are concerned. And so what I do on Tuesday is I just prep for Wednesday. And I go over and over and over again in my mind that message. And I pray on it and make sure that that's the message that God wants me to deliver. Yeah. And so a lot of times it changes. And I mean, dude, you'll walk up to that pulpit on Wednesday night, and immediately your message will change no matter how much you prepare. Mm-hmm. And so, but Tuesday, that's going to be more of my prep day. I try to chill, try to keep things off my plate. But it's also our staff meeting day. We have a staff meeting Tuesday morning. Okay. And so, but yeah, that's more of my prep day for Wednesday, our high school night.
Wednesday you have service?
Then Wednesday is our service. That's Ignite is on Wednesday nights, our high school ministry. And so I have that service, and that's at 6:30.
How many students would you say attend that?
We got about, man, it fluctuates everywhere from about 20 to 30 kids.
Nice. Stay
in our high school ministry. Live Wire, they're a little bit smaller because I've only had them for about a year.
Is that Thursdays?
And that is on Sunday night.
Oh, Sunday night. Okay.
Live Wire's on Sunday nights, but they go about 15. They got about 15 kids in Live Wire.
School. Right.
Yeah. So then Thursdays I have band practice, and Thursday I am also prepping for Sunday night. So because Friday is my off day. I know that's kind of weird, but most of the time a pastor has a Monday off, but I chose to have Friday off. But Thursday is my prep day for Sunday night, so I do the same thing. I go over the message, whatever I'm going to be delivering on Sunday, try to iron all that stuff out on Thursday. And like I said, Thursday night is our band practice. Fridays, I'm off. That's my Sabbath day, so I try to just completely unplug, technology away and just take it in, take it in with my family. And right now, hanging out with Carson on Fridays, so it's really cool. Of course, Saturdays, we normally have something going on at the church on Saturdays, whether it's a global mission outreach like what we're doing right now. We've got a global missions conference here, and lots of people are going to be coming to that. So we've got that Friday, Saturday, and Sunday this week. Okay. And so Saturdays, normally we have something going on here at the church that I plug into and I help out in any way that I can. Then Sunday, and I get here early, work with the band. As soon as I'm finished with the band, I teach a Connect class, which is all the new members that are coming in. I sit in and I rotate with the other pastors. Mm-hmm. And so my part of Connect class is spiritual gifts. Mm-hmm. And so I teach a Connect class right after that. And then I try to oversee our Bible study areas. So high school and middle school both have Bible studies back here in the youth building. And I try to get back here and sit in on them and make sure, because I have leaders that lead them. That way, I can be free to help in the main service. But I come back here and try to oversee their Sunday school and their curriculum, what they're learning, the different styles that are being used and stuff like that on Sunday.
All right, a couple more questions. Could you give us a real brief, just not really a testimony, but just how you became a youth pastor? Sure. Just like how God did that?
Man, it's a crazy story. Actually, I'm a drummer. Okay. I'm a worship drummer, and so my wife and I, actually she was my fiance at the time, had saw that the church that she was going to, called New Life, was planting a church in my hometown of Hot Springs. So I got super excited. She's like, Mark, you should try out for the band. And so I tried out for the band and I made it, and it was awesome. And so I got on at New Life as a worship drummer, and I drummed with them for a while, and we toured around, and it was really fun. But after that, it was just a God thing, because New Life is a huge church, and I never in a million years thought they would have asked me to do it. But the pastor one day came to me and was like, Mark, the youth really connect with you. Yeah. They love you, and would you by any chance like to teach them? And so I started out, just as volunteer, just teaching them. I was also at the time working as a full-time medic. And so I would come to New Life anytime I had downtime and just work. And I would work with the youth, plan events, things like that. And so I built up a lot of, I built up a lot of relationships with the youth, and over a good amount of time, New Life brought me on as their youth pastor.
Wow.
And I was ordained there through New Life Church.
Cool.
And man, it just exploded from there. I mean, my calling happened earlier in life. I was 21 whenever I felt called to ministry, but I ran from my calling.
Yeah.
And, I was scared at the time, and I'm like, man, you don't understand, God, you don't want me. And eventually it worked out to where I learned so much through that time that by the time I got to New Life, God had prepared me. And so that's kind of how I got into ministry. And then coming down here just was another blessing from God. We still have good ties with New Life and everything like that, but then God opened the doors to come down here, and my wife and I wanted a better chance to start something from the ground up.
Right.
Because New Life is a very well-established youth ministry, and we came here and started with nothing and built it up, and it was awesome because God's using the ministry and using us in an awesome way. It's great.
That's awesome. Okay, last question, because this is for a bunch of college people that are trying to become ministers eventually. One piece of advice that you give to somebody that is going to either youth ministry or full-time ministry altogether.
Yeah.
What's the best advice you can give?
Man, I mean, if I could sum it up in two things, it would be definitely to don't be discouraged when God shuts a door.
Okay.
Don't be discouraged when God shuts a door, because, and I'm sure you guys have heard that, when God shuts a door, He opens a window.
Yeah.
And, you just got to be ready for that. And also, love on kids. Love on kids, because you're going to get put in a position to where you may not be paid right off the bat.
Right.
And don't be afraid of that. And take every opportunity that you're given. But give those kids your heart. And if you love on them, and if your heart is truly in it, God will bless that ministry, and it'll continue to grow, because love is infectious, man, and then it'll grow and it'll explode. So those are my two things.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
Thanks, brother.